We are pleased to present for you It Feels Like This, a Reader's Theater in 3 movements. First movement, the paralytic. Maybe you've heard of me. I'm the one who was lifted up, let down, raised up, and let go. The one on the mat, the one they call the paralytic. Maybe you've heard about me in Mark's Gospel, or maybe you've seen me somewhere else, paralyzed by who knows what, maybe physically. But who knows exactly what made me so numb I couldn't move, so immobile I couldn't get from one place to the next without my community to help me. There are those who believe prayer is magical. Just say the right words and you'll be healed. There are also those who think healing is just for physical things. But I'm here to tell you, to remind you, prayer is more than words, and healing is more than the absence of suffering. My story, your stories, are part of a long tradition of bringing to God the full measure of our faith and our doubt, trusting in a community of caregivers to risk themselves for compassion's sake, realizing the deeper healing that is possible for us all when all voices are heard and honored. Even the psalmist knew what it was to have faith in God, but to feel so alone. Listen.
You, Lord, reign forever. Your throne endures from generation to generation. Why do you always forget us?
Why do you forsake us so long?
Why, Lord, do you reject me and hide your face from me?
Imagine feeling so alone that you can't even believe God is within your reach. Maybe you don't have to imagine. Maybe you know. Can you understand what it was like for me to know Jesus was just there beyond my reach? How I wanted so badly to see him and hear his voice? When you're paralyzed by whatever holds you in place, it's a lonely place to be. It's not just my story. This is your neighbor's story, your friend's story, your loved one's story, your story. What does it feel like to live with mental illness? It feels like this.
I slog through the day, moving like through a swamp.
Not as aware of the feelings of others.
Self-critical.
Guilty.
Worried about everything.
The world is dark.
I look normal on the outside.
Feels like being stuck in hell. The most scary and frustrating feeling. You don't know why you're scared or anxious.
Hiding the pain, tiptoeing around friends and family. My sense of time is altered. Depression is a sneaky illness. It creeps up on me. The symptoms can be subtle at first.
I can't be my normal self.
I eat to soothe my feelings.
I look normal on the outside, but really, I am struggling.
My brain frantically seeks out things to worry about.
You are frustrated with yourself. Frustrated with yourself.
For letting it get the best of you.
Save me, O God, for the waters have come up to my neck.
You can't shake the fear.
I sink in the miry depths where there is no foothold.
You find yourself irritable with those around you, and you grow more frustrated the more they ask.
I have come into the deep waters. The floods engulf me.
You pray for some relief.
I
I
am
am worn out, calling for help.
It is a never-ending cycle, but there is a light at the end of the journey if you just hang on.
Hang on.
Hang on and get help. It gets so much better.
And we learn to breathe. And we come to the present moment. And we say together, Be
still and know that I am God. Be still and know.
Be still.
Be.
Second movement, the caregiver. I have to remember to breathe, to just be sometimes, especially as a caregiver. I am one of her friends, a friend of the paralytic, I mean. Have you ever wondered why we did that? Carried her up onto the roof? Why we risked digging through the roof? You can imagine the homeowner had some questions for us after that. Why we risked lowering her down through the opening to get her closer to Jesus. I think we did it because we had to do something. Day after day, seeing her like that, unable to move or engage with the rest of the community, we worried for her. We had a schedule worked out between us because we were that worried about how much more she could take. Because we loved her, because that's what it feels like to care for someone with mental illness. You know, don't you, how it feels.
Love is patient. Love is kind.
Love is not envious or boastful.
Or arrogant.
Or rude.
Love bears all things,
Believes all things. Hopes all things.
endures all things.
How does it feel to care for someone with mental illness?
It feels like extreme love.
Like extreme love.
It feels like uncertainty all the time.
I'm afraid.
We live in fear.
The fear is indescribable.
What will I find when I walk into his room?
What will I find when I walk into her room?
All I want is to lie awake on his floor and listen to him sleep.
I'm always cautious of the storm that might be brewing.
One wrong text.
One wrong look.
One undesired reaction could set him off.
It could be anything.
Dinner wasn't what she wanted.
His sister wants his attention.
What if he drinks?
What if she gets more depressed?
What if I make him feel bad?
What
if she...
My brain knows none of these reactions would be my fault, but I'm exhausted and drained.
I want to cry.
We hide the things they will use to harm themselves.
I want to yell.
I want to talk, but I can't find the words.
We
We are
are exhausted.
Jesus said, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest."
My love for him is so deep.
Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls.
I love her with every fiber of my being.
For I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls.
I've tried to love them back to health. Mental illness doesn't work that way.
My yoke is easy and my burden is light.
But
my love for her is so deep.
For
My
yoke is easy,
and my burden is light.
with every fiber of my being. When I asked my partner what it's like to take care of someone with a mental illness, he said, nothing like living with the illness itself. God knew what God was doing when I was paired with this man.
We are each other's partners.
We are each other's caregiver.
We are each other's advocate.
Third movement.
The crowd who witnessed these things. We have never seen anything like this. Did we not believe it was possible?
Were our eyes closed to it?
Or our minds or our hearts.
That's how it is for those of us on the outside looking in. We don't know what to say or how to respond. We see things, but we don't ask questions. When we ask, "How are you?" we get a half-hearted response.
I'm fine.
We don't press further. We move on with our day.
That day, when the one who was paralyzed was carried by her friends up to the roof, down through the opening within reach of Jesus, the crowd that was gathered around witnessed something amazing.
They saw what was possible in a community where it wasn't strange at all, even to put a hole in the roof to make sure everyone was seen and heard and loved.
Not strange at all to do whatever it takes.
Beloved, let us love one another, because love is from God. Everyone who loves is born of God and knows God.
What I wish our church family knew about mental illness in my life is how it's invisible.
You wouldn't know it by looking at me.
You wouldn't know I've had a dozen medications fail me.
Just try harder.
You wouldn't know I've had shock treatments.
Just think positive thoughts.
You wouldn't know that in addition to exercise, meditation, and weekly therapy sessions, I take 6 different prescriptions to keep me glued together.
I know what you're going through.
You wouldn't know. I feel different when I'm depressed.
I feel like I'm a burden.
I feel ashamed.
It's hard for me to follow through.
It doesn't mean I'm lazy.
You
You
wouldn't know.
Not wanting mental illness doesn't help.
Knowing better doesn't help.
And it doesn't get any better with one long prayer, one right medication, one great friend, one good answer. You wouldn't know.
Let
Let
us
us
love,
love
not in word or speech,
but in truth and action.
Tell me what that looks like.
Tell me what that sounds like.
Can you tell me what might be helpful today?
My friend just hugs me and talks to me about ordinary things.
Know that I'm okay doesn't always mean I'm okay.
Ask more specific answers, questions.
Listen.
Do you remember in the letter of James in the New Testament, it asks, "Are any among you suffering? The community should pray."
Offer prayers.
Call, even when it's hard and you don't know what to say.
Listen.
Are any among you sick? They should call for the elders of the church and have them pray over them, anointing them with oil in the name of the Lord.
Pray for me.
Listen.
Pray for one another so that you may be healed.
Lift up prayers for those of us with mental illness.
Listen.
It lets me know you see me.
It lets me know you hear me.
It lets me know you care for me.
It
lets me know you will not
leave
me.
Amen.